Hey guys, Steven, TheSalonGuy here, and today I've got a brand new step-by-step women's haircut tutorial for you all. Alright, as you can see here, this mannequin has relatively longer hair, and this haircut is going to be focused on how to create short layers, but also keeping the length. Now when I say short layers, I'm not talking about layers that are this long on top of the head. I'm talking about that new modern layer where it starts about right here and angles all the way down into the length. A very sexy modern look. So I'm ready to go. Let's get started. Okay, so we're ready to get started. The first thing I want you guys to do is basically wash the hair first, obviously, and then create a center parting right here and comb everything out. I like to use the fine teeth of the comb when combing just because it really helps for even distribution and it keeps the hair very accurate when you're cutting compared to the wide teeth. So go ahead and do that. And then what we'll do is we'll create a section separating the front from the back, which is called the division point. Okay, just so it makes it a clear vision for you as far as what separates the front and the back. I always do this, and I've been doing it here for many, many years. I always create a section to separate the front and the back, just so you're very focused on what you're going to do. So after you're done combing the hair, you're going to get all the knots out, make sure it's nice and even. Probably tilt the head down a little bit this way, forward. And then I like to create another part right down the center. And then from this point on, we're ready to start cutting. Make sure it's all combed out of the way. And since we're going to be leaving a lot of the length, what you can do is you can take the hair and you can just comb it forward out of the way. You can clip it out of the way, or you can just tuck it right over the ear. But either way, however you do it, just create a section right down here in the back. Now this is combed, it's ready to be cut. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut everything one length right in the back, and we're going to maintain a good amount of the length. Okay, so I mentioned we're going to maintain the length. Let's comb this straight down. And we're going to cut it straight across. And we're going to follow the same technique throughout the entire back of the head. Now, depending on the density of the hair, all depends on the thickness of your sections. This is probably, I'd say, medium as far as the thickness goes. So this is probably more like the average hair type that you're going to deal with. So what we're going to do is comb everything straight down, panel by panel here, and cut everything blunt straight across. When you're done with the entire back, then we're going to work in through the sides to create our length and then our angle. All right, now that the back is done, it's time for us to connect the back in through the sides, and this is where we begin to create our angle. Here's where we left off, and what we're going to do is we're going to now cut our angle, finger angle and positioning is pointed down this way, and it's lined up with our arm. Okay, which is pointed, our elbow is pointed going towards the sky, this way, it's going up. So remember, this is where we're going to start to create our angle now. Now we are going to go quite short in through the front area, so you have to think to yourself, almost draw a visual line of where you want this to start, this angle. And then you have to then map it out and say, okay, this has to connect in through here. It's all about what happens in through here, and your hands basically control all of that. So since we do want to go a bit higher, this is where we're going to angle our fingers up this way. As you can see what's happening. If my hands are flat, I can't angle it. The higher I elevate my elbow like this, the more I can angle. So I'm now going to cut up this way. My hand positioning is the same. My elbow is pointed up. And what I'm doing now is I'm just following along on a pattern. Don't want to cut too high up because you will probably cut yourself, but I'm maintaining the same angle and elevation. Actually, I'm not really elevating, I'm just angling because I'm keeping it somewhat flat to how high I want to cut this. So now I'm in the very, very front. Here's where I'll angle my fingers again like this, and now I'm cutting upwards. Now look what that's done. It's created a beautiful angle coming all the way from the front right here. This is the front. And look, it's a beautiful flow going all the way down in through the back, okay? And I did all that just by simply angling my fingers like this. So do the same thing on the other side. So we'll get started here, I'll show you, just so you can stick with me here. So now we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna connect in through the side here. I'm combing everything straight down. I'm not sectioning it off. It's because of the density of the hair, I don't need to section it. But I'm now going to, again, determine where this is going to be and then angle it down this way. Now for this part, what we're gonna do is angle our fingers upwards this way, and we're gonna come over the top like that. We're gonna come over the top to cut this section. Okay, now that that's done, we're probably gonna end up turning your body position to where now you're cutting exactly, you're in front of where you're cutting. And again, your hands are angled, your fingers are angled. Here we are like this. I'm just gonna come over this way a little bit. And we're cutting straight down like that. Making sure you're always connecting. Now we're getting to the front. Our fingers are angled up like this. And now what we can do is take a piece from our last section on the other side to act as our guide. And then what we can do is cut straight down. You can comb everything forward and just go back in and double check to make sure everything is balanced. Now, what you could do is cross check. The best way to cross check haircuts like these are to stand right in front. Use your hands like this, your fingers. This is really going to be a lifelong tool for you. Comb everything straight down, right in front of you like this. And take both sides and just pull everything forward this way. Pull it all forward, and you can see it's all even. Same thing on this side. Pull it all forward, and if it isn't even, okay, when you pull everything forward, then what you need to do is comb it all like this into your hands, and this will show you what's happening. So this side is actually not far off, but just a little bit heavier on here, this side. So what I'm going to do, and it's normal, I can see there's the weight right there. That's because we haven't layered it yet. But what you can do is you can comb everything forward like this to right here and cut it. That's the best way to check to make sure everything is even and balanced. Stand right in front, comb it all forward, bring it to a point, and it'll show you exactly where you are, just like that. All right, now that the base is done, and remember, the base is essential for any haircut. The base basically is your outline. I want to go back in. I like going back in because you will see some longer hair. I really always suggest going back to cut anything else. And if you want to go shorter right in the front, you can. But what you have to do is then reconnect. Okay, so here's where we are right now with the length, right about here. Will I go a little bit shorter? Maybe, maybe not. But if you want to, all you got to do is split this here, angle your fingers up even more this way, and then come over the top. Again, so let's bring this up a little bit, cutting over the top, and we're simply just connecting. Cut it to just where it all blends in, just like that. Same thing on this side. There's our guide from what we just cut. We're going to angle upwards to where it matches to where we just cut on the other side. And there we go. So now we brought everything up. Make sure it's all balanced. Might just have to go back in here, cut a little bit more so it's not so heavy. And there we have the nice blend. Great. We spent enough time on the front here, but this is very crucial. This is the most crucial part of the haircut, is getting these layers and these angles right into here. You can literally cut this and be done, honestly, because you've got a beautiful flow. But what I want to do is just add some layers in the back and just give it a little bit of shape, because right here, as you can see, it's all one length and super heavy. Now we're in the back area, and now this is the top back of the head. Now one technique that I like to do, which keeps things very, very simple, is to take a horizontal section. I don't always start out this way, but take a horizontal section. And this is really just to maintain the length and the balance. And now and you have to look now. Okay, now here's the very, very front. So the shortest piece is right through the front here. And what needs to be done is this has to be connected into here. Okay? So what you can do is you have from here to work with. So it will go shorter to longer. So look where the shortest piece is right here before we get to the back. So it's about right here. All right, and there's a piece in the front. So what you're going to do is you're simply going to cut this straight across. You're going to comb everything straight up, just right in this one section right here. Keeping your elbow elevated this way. Then what I like to do is get that out of the way, split the hair in half right down the middle. Then take a horizontal section and then comb everything straight up to that one point. Just not a huge section. Let's bring this camera down a little bit, as you can see. Not a huge section, meaning from all the way down here, because when you elevate like this, you remove a lot of weight. So I'm just doing this to keep consistent and even. All right, so there we're cutting straight across that way. Get that out of the way, do the same thing, mirror that section on the other side, comb straight up, and we're gonna cut straight across. And again, what this is doing, it's keeping very consistent, even layers throughout the whole thing. All right, now what I want you to do is comb everything straight down. Okay, do not go below the occipital at all, or even right on it. You don't want to go that low. Depending on the thickness of hair, you can, but not for medium to fine hair. Okay, now that's done. Now it's time to connect those layers in the back. And this is going to become now the more traditional type of layering. So comb everything straight out like that from the head. And there we go. Now connect it in the very, very back, in the bottom in the nape area. We're going to comb it straight out. And there. So what that's doing, it's maintaining the length, keeping the thickness, but you have a very established, even layer throughout the entire back of the head. Again, go from the nape, comb it straight out. Whatever hair drops is fine because that's the length. That means it doesn't need to be cut. And just continue to do this throughout the entire back of the head. If you follow this pattern, you literally are golden when it comes to creating this type of haircut. This is like my money haircut right here. You can't go wrong with this haircut if you follow this technique. This will literally change your career, especially if you're starting out. So let's finish the whole back of the head. And when we're done, we can then move in through the top, which is essential. Now just one little trick here, in through the corners, right in through here. You want to comb everything straight back. You don't want to elevate it too high. You want to comb it straight back so that the hair on the bottom, see that hair, just falls down from the section. You want to leave that because that is going to maintain the length and the weight in through the corners. If you cut too much of that, it's going to get way too thin. All right, so finish up the back and then we'll be ready to move in through the top. All right, now we're at the top of the head here. We're ready to move forward. Remember, we cut this, so this we don't need to cut anymore. So we can then move forward now into the very, very top section. And we're going to continue moving right down the center. We're going to follow a pattern just like we were doing. So what's going to happen is now we're going to comb the hair straight across and we're going to comb it straight up this way. So we have a horizontal section and we're combing it straight up. Now what's going to happen is you're going to see some hair from underneath, which is your guide, which is fine. And then you're going to cut it straight across right here. All right, your guide, you'll see it right under there. Next section, again, right down the middle. And then we can split this in half because we don't want to take it too thick. Then take a piece from our last section as a guide. and then comb it straight up. Same exact thing. Now you're going to start to notice that there's less and less hair that you're cutting because we already cut the length on the top here. This is now completely blended in. All right, hold this straight up and cut that, whatever needs to get cut. All right, the top is now done. What you can do to make sure that it's blended in properly, and this is the true test right here to make sure that you're doing well, and hope you're following along with me here, is now we're going to take this section right here. This is the very, very middle, very top. We're going to angle it. And look, there's just that little bit right there that needs to be blended in. Okay? Just that little bit. But everything has a beautiful flow going from shorter to longer in through the back. So now what we're going to do, and follow along with me because we're on a roll here, is now we're going to cut the corners and the sides. So for the corners and the sides, we're going to follow the same pattern, working from the back to the front, but now we're going to comb everything up, and we're going to cut it straight across here, and let all the other hair fall down into its section where it was previously laying, because that is your length, and you don't want to cut that. So hold everything straight up. Okay, now you'll see that corner. Here's the corner. You cut that corner off, and then let the hair fall down. You can comb it in the very, very bottom, just to make sure that you are balanced and it's all blended. So you have a couple little hairs, and you just trim those. Just make sure you're not cutting the bottom length. Okay? And what we're doing now is we're simply combing it straight out, 90 degrees. There's that little corner right there, just so you can see. And then hold that section and then go to the very, very bottom if you want, just to make sure it's all balanced, and just slightly cut anything that's a little bit longer, but it should all blend in perfectly. Literally, folks, this is what I call probably the perfect haircut. I mean, you cannot go wrong with this. It's a very, very trendy haircut. It's something that you really need to know how to do. And if you follow this along, I'm telling you, this is going to really change your career. So here we go on this side. I know this is a longer video, but this is crucial. This is a crucial video, and please share it with all of your friends. Help me get this to go viral, because this, as you can see, a lot of work goes into this, and I'm doing this for you guys basically for free. So here we are on the other side. Now I'm standing in front of the mannequin, so you want to stand in front of your client. There is that piece right there, that corner, and you just cut it right off. Again, now we're combing, and now we're angling up. Just a little bit of hair needs to come off, and you get rid of it. So follow this pattern until you get to the very, very front. And when we're done with the haircut, we'll take a look, and then we'll be ready to blow dry it and style it. All right, so I just want to show you the haircut while it's wet before I style it. Here's where the layers come, right into the front, right here. Okay, there it is. There's the length. There's those. You can even use this as a side bang even if you want. But it all blends in. And now look, it's got beautiful shape. The length is still here, and you can really, really have a lot of fun with this. And this is that modern, sexy look with the shorter angle right in through here, working in through the length. So now we're going to blow dry it. I'm going to use a little of my Plush serum, which is amazing for smoothing out hair, and it also keeps volume in your hair. It doesn't make it flat. So I'm going to put that in, blow dry it, and then we'll take a look. Okay guys, so let me just break down the blow dry. So what I did is I used the Paul Mitchell Pro Tools dryer, the Express Ion Dry version 2. It's a bit of an older dryer, but one of my favorite dryers. And then I used the Paul Mitchell Pro Tools large round brush here, which is great. And so this is the key, is when I blow dry this, I added some flips to it. I blow dried it up this way. The front I blow dried all forward towards the face this way. And now, as you can see, it should look like this. Now this is the money shot. This is the best part of this whole thing. This is when I'll ask the client to tip their head back this way. And what I'll do is I'll then rake everything back with my hands like this. Rake it back away from the face. Okay, just use your fingers. And if you did the haircut how I explained, this literally will fall right into place and it's gonna look absolutely gorgeous. This is the best part. Now, bring the head forward. And look at that, it just falls right into place. And look how gorgeous this looks. I mean, this is total celebrity. This is literally why I'm calling this the perfect layered haircut. I mean, you cannot go wrong with this shape. See how it just flows back in through here? We've got the length into the bottom. We've got some movement. Let's just turn this way. You brush it all back and it has that gorgeous flow, no lines in it whatsoever. It's just stunning. Let's show you the back here. Again, has a gorgeous flow. The length is there. And this is probably one of my favorite haircuts. And if you followed along step by step with this, then you'll have accomplished the same exact thing. And this is one of my favorite haircuts to do. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions on where you can purchase my products or any information on Paul Mitchell Pro, you can find the links in the description below. But thank you guys so much for watching, and please let's help me get this video out there so that someone else can learn from this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for more tutorials with the Salon Guy.